Hi, my name is Amanda and I have a master's in linguistics. Today I'm going to talk about the movie The War of the Rohirrim and a little bit about the hero's journey, something I first learned about when I was an undergraduate student. Joseph Campbell was an American writer who is famous for having put together the concept of the monomyth. Campbell studied many myths and stories around the world to come up with the concept of the monomyth or the hero's journey. In his book, The Hero of a Thousand Faces, he explains that the journey of a hero is basically made of big staples. First, the call to adventure and leaving home, then the trials and tribulations along the way, finally the abyss or breaking point, and then the opportunity to learn, which results in the transformation of the hero, and then the return home and celebration with peers. This is a very broad and light explanation. For something deeper, I recommend reading Campbell's book, finding a paper or summary somewhere, etc. In fact, if you think well enough, one of your favorite stories probably follows this scheme. I'll take The Lord of the Rings as an example, since we're going to talk about a movie based on Tolkien's characters today. When we think about Frodo's journey, he starts with a happy life in the Shire. He's called for a task to do something bigger than him, and doing that, he goes through many hardships to complete the task with the help of friends. He grows internally in the process and essentially becomes a different individual than who he was when he was first starting the adventure. That's the hero's journey. The hero has to overcome obstacles and learn something along the way. He or she has to become better in some way, and they have to save people either during the task or once they achieve the goal. I feel like when mainstream media started to make heroines, they have failed many times to make them go through this growing and learning process. I felt this was the problem with the new 2020 Mulan. I know I'm kind of late to this discussion, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. The girl was already running on rooftops as a child. The 1998 Disney Mulan was appealing, and I would argue even braver, because she was an ordinary woman who entered the army knowing nothing about fighting and war and how to be a warrior. The 2020 Mulan had the chai since childhood and was in fact better than her male counterparts in fighting. Because of that, she had a quote special factor, special something about her. Maybe one could argue that the new Mulan is a story about accepting oneself, but I still think that the older version had that and the relatability factor. Mulan, the 1998 one, she accepted herself as she was, like not being able to get married easily, let's say, and she still was, relatable. To me, as a woman, seeing a female character who starts off incredible and finishes their journey essentially the same is not empowering, it's just unrelatable and unachievable. So I wanted to talk about the War of the Rohirrim because I felt different than that when I watched it. This movie is an anime fantasy based on a character from the appendix of the Lord of the Rings book, Helm Hammerhand. The heroine in question is his daughter, Hera, or Hera. I don't know, I'll say Hera probably till the end of the video. Basically, the story of the movie is set 200 years before the events of the Lord of the Rings. About the plot, what interests us is this. Hera doesn't want to marry this guy, Wolf, to make an alliance, and neither does her father, by the way. Her father, Helm, ends up killing the father of the suggested groom. This happens right at the beginning of the movie and is also included in the trailer, so I don't think this is a spoiler. All in all, Wolf seeks revenge against Helm, his family, his kingdom, and everything. So to make my point, from now on, I'll begin to tell spoilers of the movie. So if you haven't watched it, please consider doing so before watching this video until the end. But then, please come back here to hear my take. At first, it seemed like the movie would lean on the stereotype of, quote, the girl who is not like the other girls, and I was prejudiced against the main character. But as the movie goes, I realized that Hera is not too arrogant to ask and accept help when she needs. For example, she needs help to be rescued when she's kidnapped by a wolf. She also asks for help explicitly in this scene with the eagle. And at this point, there is no hope for her to win the war against Wolf. And if she hadn't asked for help, the war would have been completely lost for her and for her people, because the eagle summoned her cousin with his army to help her. Asking for help doesn't diminish the heroine's or the hero's strength. Instead, I think it humanizes them. She is empathetic towards her people. She knows that she needs to use a smart solution to save them, not brute strength, which she doesn't have. She wasn't expecting to fill in the leader role, but she's able to learn and grow through the hardship of losing her family. I think Hera's story is a good example of a heroine's journey. She has to leave a place of comfort, she has to face and overcome hardship and become a better person in the process, also saving people along the way. To me, the heroine in this movie is all that the girl boss troop is trying to be, but fails because they're just too arrogant. Too arrogant for moments of weakness, too arrogant to ask for help, and too arrogant to start from a humble place, a place of not knowing everything. At the end of the movie, Hera chooses not to lead her people, even though she had conquered their respect, and even though she had royal blood, because that's what she wants. She doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. She doesn't need external validation. And she doesn't need a throne to fit whatever kind of mold is expected of her. Sometimes I think that the girl boss stereotype is just another mold women are expected to fit in. In reality, being able to choose how our life should be and not feeling the need to prove ourselves to others all the time is the real definition of assertiveness, power, and freedom. Anyway, these are all my opinions. Thank you so much. If you watched this video until the end, if you're gonna leave a comment, please be kind and respectful. And subscribe. I'm gonna make more videos in the future. See you soon. Bye bye.